All right, people, welcome to another edition of the New Breed Podcast, the world's best podcast, talking about everything new with a U. Yes, we're talking about new metal and new metal adjacent music, culture, and lifestyle. I am one half of your hosting duo, Jay Horsecow. With me, I have my partner in crime, the notorious TIM. Tim, how's it going, brother?
Great.
Fantastic. And with us, we got a really special guest, Sony recording artist, co-host of the Chocolate Starcast, which is on hiatus, but coming back. We're optimistic it's coming back. We have Skribbal. Skribbal, thank you for joining us.
What up? It's about motherfucking goddamn time.
we are really super stoked to have you on, man. So a hip-hop guy who likes new metal. Let's go in on that. Like, I'm looking in the background, I see Marilyn Manson, I see some Megadeth. But that's old school Megadeth, right? Is that like Peace Sells there, Megadeth?
Yeah,
what is that going on there?
Yep, that's 86, the original lineup.
No shit, right? When heroin was their favorite thing to do, right? I mean,
right, bro. When it was fucking killer, when speed metal meant speed metal.
Yeah,
right.
Smells like children era Manson stuff.
Yeah.
That's some good stuff. So tell us. Oh wow, now we're getting old school, right? So tell us, Skribbal, like hip hop and new metal. I get it, but I don't get it. Like, how'd you come up? Where did your taste come from? Let's talk a little bit about that, man.
Well, you know what it is? Like, I was into metal before I was into anything because my parents are metalheads, you know what I mean? So I came up, listening to Slayer, like, on the regular, you know what I mean? A little kid listening to Slayer, White Zombie, 6 Feet Under, you know what I mean? Like, thrash metal, a few death metal bands here and there. So, but I really came up on, like, thrash metal and a lot of the shit from, like, the early 90s, late 80s.
You got roots. Like, you got roots. Like, those are roots, brother.
Yeah, well, I heard like nothing but like Pantera and Slayer and all that kind of shit as a kid. You know what I mean? So I was naturally just a metalhead. I actually remember making fun of one of my homies because he had a Limp Bizkit poster on his wall. And I'm like 8 years old saying, fuck Limp Bizkit. That shit is fucking lame. That's not real metal.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but eventually, I fell victim to the biscuit. You know what I mean? And then once I got into Limp Bizkit, it was all over. And then it was like I loved hip hop and I love metal, and you mix them together. And I mean, what the fuck is not to love? It's the same kind of aggression. You know what I mean?
Very true. And that's a good point that a lot of people miss out on. There is an undercurrent of aggression, of uncomfortability, unhappiness with the norms, right? And people want to pigeonhole metal and hip hop when they are kind of at the opposite ends of the spectrum, having the same thing to say.
Yeah. And if you're a fucked up kid, like to be fully fucking blunt and honest, like I was in the foster care system as a kid. My parents were pretty fucked up on drugs and shit like that. So when I discovered like new metal and Korn and Biscuit and shit like that, like it spoke directly to me. You know what I mean? And I always hear motherfuckers like on these podcasts just ripping like Biscuit apart and saying, this is for suburban kids who've never gone through anything, and nothing pisses me off more. It's like, yo, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I came from some brutal shit, and this shit immediately connected with me. I can't be the only one. I'm sure there are a lot of suburban kids who, those are the same kids who, didn't follow through with Limp Bizkit and these new metal bands and just like hopped off the fucking bandwagon. You know what I mean? So
right.
It was the aggression I needed.
They're easy to hate, but at the same time, people forget Limp Bizkit sold what, 40 million records, right? Tell me another band. Tell me a band nowadays, right? 2021 that has done a soundtrack for a major motion picture franchise, has done entry music for wrestling, right? Which is still a big thing and still huge. Banger record after banger record. Crash and Christina Aguilera's set at the VMAs, right? Like they were untouchable. For a long time, they were untouchable. And Skribbal, Tim and I were talking about this the other night when we had another episode. I think they are poised for a comeback of biblical proportions.
Oh, yeah, bro. I knew the minute that I started seeing motherfuckers on my Facebook saying, oh, Limp Bizkit is fucking looking Fred. This is actually pretty cool. And you know what I mean? Like, and I feel a certain way about it. You know what I mean? Because in 2005, when I was in middle school, having to defend Limp Bizkit was not fucking easy. You know what I mean?
No.
It was fucking. I wore my fucking Megadeth shirts. I wore my fucking Testament shirts, my Pantera shirts, but I also wore my Limp Bizkit shirts. And I got endless amounts of shit for years and years and years. And now everyone's like, yeah, you know, it's pretty cool. It's like, it's bang cool, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Right.
Everything always comes around.
Oh, it always comes around. I'm convinced that they are the best new metal band. And the reason I'm convinced they're the best new band is they never changed. Fred was always the same personality. Wes was always the same. They always were the same personalities the entire run of their career, the entire first run, right? Because it looks like we're coming on the Renaissance, right? The Biscuit songs, we should trademark that. Do t-shirts. People will fucking buy it, right?
Oh yeah.
But they were always the same, right? And they weren't. And the music really didn't. I mean, aside from Results May Vary, which I do want to pick your brain on, Skribbal, and your thoughts on that. Aside from some kind of missteps here and there, the music basically stayed the same, and it still is fucking fun. I'm telling you, I have yet to meet one person who has watched the Limp Bizkit set at Lollapalooza and didn't smile. I've yet to meet somebody who didn't smile. Everybody smiles because it's like, dude, he's in a vest, he's in a wig, and he's talking about dad vibes, and he's singing like a dad, and you're like, yo, I can get down with this.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think he hit the mark on this one, you know. And this. I think this is exactly. I mean, I haven't seen people talking like this, about Limp Bizkit like this ever, because I got into Limp Bizkit in 2002. They were already being shit on. You know what I mean? In 2002, when I was 10, you know? So I have a love-hate thing with it. I'm like, on one hand, you know, it's like your little band, even though they're not a little band, and they fucking do stadiums around the world except this fucking country. You know what I mean? But it's like, man, for all the shit that I've had to deal with, and now people are like, yeah, it's cool. Not cool.
I love how he even have his pants are flooding. That's like the fucking best thing ever.
Oh, that was unreal. It was unreal. The khakis that are pulled up high. Yeah, it was kind of funny. So while we're on the topic of Limp Bizkit, let me ask you this, Skribbal. What are your thoughts on Results May Vary?
When I originally heard it, so the first album I ever got was Chocolate Starfish, and then I went backwards and got Significant, $3 Bill, and then I got the Unquestionable Truth was the first album that came out, you know, for a fucking. It was only 2 years, but it felt like forever. You know what I mean? And that just fucking had me hooked. But so I got Results May Vary after I got the Unquestionable Truth, and I was really on an Unquestionable Truth binge at that point because I was like 12. That's like all I would fucking listen to. And then you hear Results May Vary, and you're like, what is this pussified fucking horse shit? You know what I mean?
Right. No turntables. Way more almost grungy. Right. I mean, I love that EP. I think it's great. I think it's some of their best stuff. I wish they would play it live, but it's definitely not against type, but definitely outside of what you were expecting.
Well, because it's Limp Bizkit and it's taking themselves seriously, you know, and I guess that is what they were doing on Results May Vary too. You know, Fred was trying to be like, hey, I'm misunderstood, you know, I'm a songwriter kind of shit, you know. But to finish that, like, as I get older, I fucking love that album. I love songs on there, but I do think it contains the absolute worst Limp Bizkit song of all time, which is Red Light, Green Light.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's garbage.
Horrible.
So I have recently done a dive into their later catalog. It was, and I have to say that I was really impressed by Gold Cobra. It was better than I thought it was going to be. I really liked Unquestionable Truth. Results May Vary. There's some good songs, there's some bad songs. I think everybody says this, so it's going to sound fucking cliche, but I think Wes not being there really, you can literally tell in how it sounds.
Is that the same one that Sammy was on playing drums?
No, Sammy played the Unquestionable Truth. Results May Vary was Mike Smith from Snot. What other band did he play in? He was a journeyman for a while.
Yeah, I forget now. I know Sammy was on there though for a while.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to cut you off. My bad.
The Unquestionable Truth, man, it's so fucking good. And when I heard you don't like anything after Chocolate Starfish, I was just like, have you heard Unquestionable Truth? I even understand if you don't like Results May Vary, You know what I mean? Or Gold Cobra. You know, I felt a certain way about Gold Cobra for a long time, but the unquestionable truth was just unquestionable.
It is great. It is great. And when Tim and I actually did that deep dive into Ross Robinson's entire catalog and we went chronologically, I actually listened to that EP and I said to Tim, I think it's on the episode, I said, dude, I've gone back and listened to this like 10 or 12 times. Like those first 3 or 4 tracks are fucking great. They're great.
Yeah.
I have to go back. I have to go back and listen to that tomorrow as well.
It's Skribbal nailed it. It's them taking themselves seriously, but there's some song craftsmanship there. There's some riffs. The bass intro to Truth is fucking wild. Like there's just no DJ Lethal, and that's what's kind of missing, right?
I mean, it doesn't get more serious for Limp Bizkit than Fred screaming about, you know, priests molesting children and going, "You're not gonna fuck him." You know,
yeah.
It's like, what the fuck? It's very uncomfortable, but I love it, dude, because it's so different from what they were doing.
Yeah. Definitely change it up a bit.
That's one of the problems, though, I had, like, with the set list, like, them coming around. It's like, I get it, you want to play all your hits, but can we get some, like, low-key bangers that people don't hear all the time? That's the only thing that pisses me off about bands that come back like this.
I did read somewhere that the Chicago show, I think it was actually one of the last shows on the tour, not Lollapalooza. Apparently, it was so bonkers they played Pollution and they played Counterfeit because the fans wouldn't leave and they kept chanting. So they like basically wouldn't let the band get off the stage. Like, yo, play this. We're not going to play this.
That's the way. I do notice they play a lot of deep cuts when they're in Russia for some reason. Like, fucking Russia loves Limp Bizkit, dude. I don't know what it is. They probably just got the Limp Bizkit CDs like fucking 10 years ago, 5 years ago. You know what I mean? So I don't know what it is, but they go and pack arenas over there and they play the Truth. They play the Propaganda. I've seen it. Like, it's fucking crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. It's weird that they're huge. That, you know what? I'm gonna say something probably controversial. They're a lot like Sick of It All, Limp Bizkit, where they get a lot of respect domestically, but they're huge in Europe. They're huge overseas. People go bananas. Like Sick of It All is the same thing. Like, everybody loves them in New York. They love them in LA, but they've ground out a career here. Their big moneymaker is European festivals where they do the summer festival tour. So I don't know. It doesn't make sense. I still think they're fucking great.
We all know what it is. It's America is a trendy bitch country. As soon as the trend is gone and it's not cool, everyone's going to disassociate themselves with it. And that's what nu metal was. It was like a trend, you know what I mean? So in this country, but you look at Limp Bizkit in South America, look at Limp Bizkit in Europe, all over the other parts of the world, and they still do huge numbers. I don't get it. Like, why are we so trendy? It's ridiculous.
Well, new metal's a bad word in America. It's like a curse word to people
for a long time. Yeah. Now it's finally starting to be like, yo, I fuck with nu metal. It's like, oh, really? Which Korn album do you think is the best? Right? Because I like Untouchables. Like, people debating Untouchables and issues is just kind of foreign to me because I guess I'm just old. Skribbal. So aside from Limp Bizkit, like, what are some of your other choice cuts where you're like, yo, you should listen to this. If you don't like it, you're a fool.
As far as nu metal goes?
Yeah. Not nu metal, right? You want to go in on Suffocation? We'll go in on Suffocation. That's fine.
You know, I'll try and stick to the new. I mean, obviously, Korn is the fucking obvious second big one for me. You know what I mean? And I know a lot of people, you know, they only fuck with like 90s Korn, but I came in on Korn with Take a Look in the Mirror. That was like my first Korn album, and people shit on that, including Korn. Everyone shits on that album, and I fucking love every single song on that album. And I think people need to fucking go back and listen to that shit with an open mind. I think because it came after Untouchables, and everybody loved Untouchables so much. But what nobody realized is they couldn't play none of that shit live, so they had to go make some shit that they could play live. You know what I mean? And that was Take a Look in the Mirror.
Yeah, that's kind of tough. It's kind of tough when you think about it. What else? Like, what other bands, I mean, in that genre when you're like, yo, this is good stuff. People need to listen to this.
This is a controversial one, at least nowadays. Probably wasn't back in the day, but Kid Rock.
His first album was great.
I love Devil Without a Cause to this day. I play that. I'm not even fucking shitting you, once a week at least. I love that album, you know, and I'm a big Kid Rock fan. Like, I like some of his country Southern rock shit, but obviously like Devil Without a Cause is it. You know what I mean? Cocky has some good shit on it. The History of Rock has some good shit on it. But I really like his 90s shit, like his early, when he was a rapper just in Detroit. He has an album called Early Morning Stone Pimp, and it's just like almost a straight hip hop album, and I fucking love it. It's white trash heaven.
I said to I think it was on the Woodstock episode where we talked to Jimmy Ferrari, who was there at Woodstock. When Kid Rock comes out, right? Comes out in the pimp coat with the hat and the cane. He's got the mink stole on, like, and he hands the guy his mink, his fur, and his hat and his cane, and the guy gives him a different hat back. Like, yo, that is legit. That is something that today's younger people, they don't understand, like, how nuts that was to see. You know, like,
and everybody with Kid Rock, I'm just so fucking sick of everybody being like, fuck Kid Rock, he sucks, because they don't like his political opinion. Like, I don't give a fuck what Ted Nugent has to say. I'm not going to deny that Stranglehold is a banger. It's not going to happen. You know?
Yeah.
And that's what like saying I feel like saying Kid Rock is a bigger no than saying like I like new metal now. You know what I mean? Even in the circles of people who fuck with new metal and are like deep into it, they're always like, fuck Kid Rock.
I don't get it.
Wasn't he on like stage saying some racist shit recently or something?
He's never. I would like anyone to point me to anything he's ever said racist.
Maybe I'm thinking of somebody wrong then.
No,
probably the guy from Trapped or whatever.
Everything he says gets ridiculed and criticized because he used a fucking rebel flag for a tour in 2001. You know what I mean? And he's like a conservative, so everyone's just like, "Oh, fuck that guy," and you know what I mean. So I know. The most recent thing was he was on stage and he said Oprah Winfrey can suck his dick sideways.
That's an interesting take.
And that was where everyone said, "Oh, watch Kid Rock go on a racist spiel against Oprah." It's like, what was racist?
No, he just says there's offensive and racist. That's just offensive. Yeah.
I think it's funny. Fuck it.
I'll always stand up for Devil Without a Cause. You know what I mean? And you know, everything after that is questionable to, you know, it's all a matter of taste after that. But if you like new metal and you don't like Devil Without a Cause, I don't get it.
Well, I guess you don't get me then, because I can't stand that shit.
Oh, it's not bad. You got to give it, Tim, you got to go in with an open mind and give it another listen. You're going to go, you know what? This isn't bad. And it's
Skip.
I would say that it's not solely in the new metal bucket.
Yeah.
But it's adjacent enough that there's so much overlap that you're like, yeah, I can see this. Right.
You guys always talk about, you know, how new metal was this, like, you could do anything in new metal, right? It's like all these different styles, and that's exactly what it is. It's like a fucking buffet. You have soul, you have hip hop, you have old school hip hop, like very defined, like Big Daddy Kane style shit. You got fucking grungy kind of shit. You got hard rock shit, metal shit. Like, it's everything in one. And I would probably, Tim, if I were you, I would skip like Cowboy and Ball with the Ball. You know what I mean? Skip like the first two songs if you go back for a re-listen. Because obviously those songs are going to be like, oh, this is probably the reason I hate Kid Rock. You know what I mean? Because
I'll go back and do it.
I remember the first time I heard his shit was on the Ozfest 97 sampler. You guys remember? You'd go to the Ozfest and they'd hand out the postcards where you had to send like $8 and a check for $8 to this address. And then like a year later, you get this 2 CD set. And I got this 2 CD set, which I probably should have kept because now like on eBay, you could probably get like hundreds of bucks for it. And one of the songs was Kid Rock, Bottom to Bottom. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And I listened to it and I don't know if I like this. And then a couple more times I've listened to the CD. I'm like, yeah, I can fuck with this. This is good. This is good. It's like you said, you're quoting us. We're getting, you know, Inception here. We're reverting on ourselves, but literally everything went. There was no holds barred, right? You can do anything goes.
I just remember being on the radio so fucking much. It's like, come on,
yeah,
you know?
That'll burn you out.
No, and I get that, bro. Like, so if and people who legitimately don't like Kid Rock and they have like a legitimate reason, I got no problem with that. Like if it like overplayed, sick of hearing him. that kind of shit, like just
Yeah.
don't like his music. I understand that, but it's everything else that people want to pile on him for. You know what I mean? That bugs me.
Do you even like the Sheryl Crow fucking song he did and all that stuff?
I love it. I fucking love it, dude.
I mean, you can't take away from the fact the guy's got fucking talent, right? The guy has talent, and that's the thing, right? Like if you watch that Woodstock performance, he played every instrument that was on that damn stage.
Yeah, and people don't. I guess I'm really deep on it too because I know the whole history of him. I own fucking Yodel in the Valley. You know what? I'm a grit sandwiches from when he was on Jive in 1990 when he was a straight rapper. You know what I mean? Like he went on tour with Ice Cube and Too Short. Too Short produced his record. You know what I mean? Like he was before Eminem. Eminem was like looking up to Kid Rock as the fucking hometown hero, the Detroit rapper that everyone wanted to fucking be like because he was selling 20,000 copies out the back of his trunk. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I mean, people can hate him all they want, but he fucking earned everything he has. Like where the fuck he's at, he earned all that.
Oh yeah, I'm not denying talent. It's just
and he put his
so overplayed. I'm like, if I'd ever heard this again, I'm good.
Yeah, he put his work in, right? He put his work in. He ground it out and ground out a career for himself. Skribbal, let's talk about another band that Tim and I actually haven't talked about much here on the show, but we probably should do more of. POD. I know you're a big fan.
Yeah, I love POD. Go ahead.
No, I think Southtown is great. The album is great. I think what was the one after it? Satellite. I think Satellite is a fucking awesome album. And I have a lot of memories that you can play all those big radio songs. And I will think of, oh, that was playing when I went and got my first tattoo. Oh, that was playing the night we went out drinking and we almost got arrested. Oh, that was playing, you know what I mean? Like there's that, I have that memory tied to a lot of those songs where I'm like, this shit's good. It's good.
Yeah. POD for me was the first nu metal band that I ever heard I'm starting a new podcast called the Skribbalcast. And for the first episode, I just interviewed Marcos.
Oh, okay.
And I told him this story because this is the first time I heard anything that wasn't like White Zombie or Slayer that I was like, oh, I like this. And basically what it was I used to like go to my neighbor's house to get like a fucking sandwich and some drinks. You know what I mean? So like if I wanted to eat, I'd go to like the neighbor's house, right? And they lived in a double wide trailer, but they had cable and they had MTV on. And I would go there like just get some Dr. Peppers and fucking chill out in heaven for like an hour. You know what I mean? And watch cable. And I remember the music video for Alive came on and it was like brand fucking new. The video for Alive. And I just remember looking at it, like the sound, the way they looked, the tattoos, the dreadlocks. And I just thought like, these guys are fucking cool, man. These guys are fucking dope. And honestly, ever since then, like I've been a fan. Like Satellite is obviously got me into them. And then I went back and got Fundamentals and their older shit. And I love their newer shit. I never stopped being a POD fan. Most people, it seems, stop after Satellite, you know, because in 2003, everyone, it seemed like all the nu metal bands were doing like their alternative album where they weren't going to rap anymore. They're going to sing now. And that's what POD did on the next record after Satellite. So I understand probably why a lot of people fell off.
Well, they were trying to go the route of what was popular back then.
Yeah. They were trying to change with the times. And it just, and plus I think 2003, 2004 was almost the high watermark for nu metal, right? That at that point is the saturation point where things just started to go downhill from there. Everybody tried to make the turn into like neo grunge, I guess, quasi butt rock, right? And it was, and they didn't. And then here's Limp Bizkit, you know, Fred Durst still giving the middle finger to the camera and all that sort of stuff. But I don't blame them, but I can see why the tides changed.
What sucks with POD is after they did the album, the self-titled after Satellite, Satellite was sold like 6-7 million copies, right?
Damn.
And the follow-up, I think, only went gold. And I would love to have the fucking gold record. If I had a gold record, I'd be on top of the fucking world, biggest thing ever. You know what I mean? But for POD to go gold after they just went 7 times platinum, you know, that's really where I think so many people fucking fell off, and you could just look at the numbers.
But that's Skribbal. That was also when the internet and like leaks and the internet rose, right about that time, right? That's where everything was leaking months early. As soon as it went to the plant, you should just assume it was ending up on the internet.
Oh yeah.
And Napster, Kazaa, all that stuff, LimeWire were huge.
What's a shame is they followed that record, the self-titled, their alternative record, right? They followed that up with an album called Testify, where it's straight rap metal. They're like, all right, fuck this. That didn't work. Let's go back. And I love that's like probably, it's got to be, you know, top 3 albums for POD for me. Love that album.
I don't think I've ever heard that. I got to dig in and listen to that.
I think the only hit on it, they had a song called Goodbye for Now. Goodbye for now, so long. That was like the only kind of hit on there.
Yeah, there's so many bands I have to go back and listen to their catalog. That's one of them. I'm gonna put a note in my phone for that right now. Actually.
That's the cool part about doing the show is we went back and encountered so much shit that I didn't even know back then it was there. You know, like that whole international scene where Holiday Kirk took us on that journey. I had no fucking idea there was some of that stuff out there. Like, and to hear like, you know, a band like Playmo, which is still going in France, and they're headlining like sheds and arenas over like bands that we know. It's like, wow, that's kind of wild. It's kind of wild.
And even in the new metal genre, there's so many bands. Like when you think you know all the fucking bands, here's 100 more that you've never fucking heard. And I actually wanted to ask you guys something. I wanted to ask, have you guys ever heard of a band called Pillar?
No.
So Pillar, and this is mind-blowing because you hear about like all these new metal bands, Il Nino and you know, all these like small new metal bands, right? But you never hear about Pillar, who had a fucking gold record. You know what I mean? And they were like POD hardcore. You know what I mean? If POD was Christian light, Pillar was what the Christians wanted after they felt POD sold out. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And Pillar has this album called Fireproof. I think it's like 450,000. They got another gold record after that. And that's one of my all-time favorite fucking new metal albums. I would tell people to listen to that shit because a big thing for me being a rapper is I can't listen to most new metal with rapping in it. You know, Limp Bizkit, POD being the exception, because most new metal rappers are fucking ass. You know, they don't know how to fucking spit bars. They don't know multis. They're very basic. It's like a rock dude trying to rap. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Pillar, that Fireproof album, that dude is just spitting fucking blazing bars. And I love it. And just heavy breakdowns, killer shit, man. And that came out like 2002. That was a little late, and they did great.
But still, that's right in the heat of it. And to have a gold record, and I never even heard of them. It's like Jesus. And
like it's fucking crazy within this little genre where you think it's so small. You know, we got 1 minute. Did 1 Minute Silence have a gold record? I don't fucking think so.
I don't think so. But they got some. But they got some.
I like them.
They got some nods. They toured the States. I forget who they came here with, and they were pretty big overseas. That was the other thing, right? When we did that international episode, that we learned that without the internet, right? Without the prevalence of the internet, making it so easy to share, they like bands like Earth Tone 9 and Lineage 77, Clawfinger, right? They were big across the pond, but they never got a chance here because, I mean, think about a foreign new metal band that got a nod. Pitch Shifter.
Yep.
Right. Yeah. And they were an industrial band that I don't even want to call them new metal. We're not gonna have that argument right now. They were an industrial band that picked up some of the tropes and ran with it and put out a couple great albums.
Yeah. I just used like that Pillar example to just show how like fucking how really big it was. And that a Christian band like Pillar, who was not even trying to be, you know, like, what's the word? Like POD, you don't feel like POD when you listen to a live. You don't, unless you know they're a Christian band. You're not like, oh, these are Christian guys.
No, it was like a rock. It was a good rock song. Yeah.
And Pillar was like, fuck that. We're talking about Ja. We're calling him Elohim in the first song. We're fireproof. You can't fucking burn us, devil. You know what I mean? And it was just like super heavy shit. And they could have damn near a gold record and another gold record, and nobody's heard of them. You know what I mean? It's just so weird, but I know that they were huge like in the Midwest.
That is wild.
There always is the Midwest bands that like are huge around there that you've never heard of. It's like, wait, what?
It's like a whole different world.
It definitely is over there. Yeah. It's like nobody wants to be bothered over there, and I don't blame them.
Well, it's because people I don't think people realize how fucking big the United States is.
Yeah.
Right. Like you get, we're outside of Philly, Skribbal. You go an hour straight west. It's like deliverance out there, brother. It's like yeehaw, get a gun. Those guys, kids with banjos on the porch, right?
Or as we call it, Kid Rock country.
Yeah, right.
I mean, that's where all the Kid Rock fans are. Like, people say Kid Rock's irrelevant. Fucking look at the tour he's doing. Look at the tour he did like a couple years ago. He's packing fucking arenas in the Midwest.
Yeah, play to your strengths, right? Play to your fucking strengths.
Fucking nuts, dude.
so let's talk about you, Skribbal. What do you have going on these days? And you're recording. You're a rapper. You've talked about it. Let's go in on you and what you got going on.
Yeah, I just dropped a brand new album back in April 30th called Black Eyed Children. And I'd been working on it for a long time. And it basically, my last record was it was like all trap beats. It was called Skinwalker. And it was like real hardcore shit over like modern trap beats and shit like that. And I wanted to do, originally the Black Eyed Children was kind of the same thing, but I'm like, I want to do something totally different. So I went full old school hip hop on it. I got boom bap beats, you know what I mean? Very old school production. And I wanted to make it different, very different from what I was doing. And it came out, did fucking great numbers. I worked with a couple of my idols on the record. I got Marcos from POD on there, playing guitar on a track called Vampire Tactics. I got Chris Barnes from Cannibal Corpse, 6 Feet Under.
That is wild.
Doing he does the intro for the record, and I couldn't believe it, dude. I knew that 6 Feet Under did a song with Ice-T, and so I'm like, well, he has to like fucking hip hop then. Like if he got Ice-T on a fucking 6 Feet Under song, so I just reached out to Chris and I'm like, hey man, would you ever want to do some hip hop shit? And he's like, fuck yeah, Skribbal, let's do it. And within a day and a half, he had the whole intro written, the whole concept of the record, everything. He had it down.
That's awesome.
And he did it.
That's sick.
It's weird, man. If you want to hear Chris Barnes on a hip hop record, check out Black Eyed Children.
Yeah, I just added it to my Apple Music. I didn't think it was out yet. That's why I didn't check it out. I thought it was coming out like soon.
Yeah, I get that a lot, like from like new people who come to my page.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Probably because I'm not promoting it constantly, and like you can go see, like pictures of it and shit like that. So, but yeah, it's out. It's been out. It's doing great.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out tomorrow. The cover art is great too.
Yeah, that cover art is fucking by this dude in Croatia, and he's like a metalhead. He's like a big Cannibal Corpse fan and shit. And he did this for me for like $300.
Oh shit!
And basically, this is like a childhood home, basically a crack house that I grew up in Southern Oregon, and I'm on the cover, and my 3 sisters are, and we called it Black Eyed Children. Black Eyed Children kind of is based on like the urban legend. Have you heard of the urban legend of the Black Eyed Kids and stuff?
No, I can say that I haven't.
So the urban legend is like these children who show up to your door like late at night, right? And they say, "Let me in," and they're really like children of the damned, kind of like children of the corn kind of thing. And I wanted to take that concept and just make it my own, and making the Black Eyed Children, the children of abuse, the children of the system, the state, and things like that. You know what I mean? And so the album is really. Whereas my last album was a lot of braggadocio, I'm the shit, typical rapper kind of shit. Yeah. I wanted to get therapeutic with this. You know what I mean? So that's pretty much what the new record is. It's like therapy.
And so last year you did quarantine sessions as well?
Yeah, I did an EP. That was my last EP for an indie label called Force 5 Records.
Oh, Force 5.
And you're into Tim, you're into hardcore and shit, right?
Yeah, we both are. Yeah.
Oh, both of you. Have you guys heard of Lord Ezek? Danny Diablo.
Of course, of course.
He signed me.
Oh, did he?
No shit.
Yeah. Danny signed me and put me on his record Craxton Heights project, and then got me on this label Force 5, and we've been working together ever since.
Yeah, that dude is insane. He's insane.
There's a thing down here. Yeah, okay. It says "Leave Me Alone."
Yeah, with Vinny Paz is on there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll check all this stuff out over the weekend.
Ezak did a podcast. It was him and Jay Reason, and they were talking about, I think it was the history of Crown of Thorns. And I don't know how Jay Reason kept the wheels on that train, man, because they were all like, the whole band was, you could tell they were having a good time and they were laughing and they were reminiscing, like, yo, remember when this happened and you punched that dude and we got thrown out? And it was so fucking wild. Like he's a madman. Definitely somebody I would love to hang out with. I would probably get stabbed, but it would definitely be worth it because he just seems like he seems like the coolest. Like he seems like just the coolest dude.
He's cool if you're cool with him. You know what I mean? I wouldn't want to be on the bad side of Danny Diablo.
Right.
Yeah, man, he's so fucking cool, and he's coming from the hardcore world, right? And he's a fucking, like, literally knows everybody. If there's fucking someone famous, Danny Diablo knows them for some reason. It could be the most random fucking people, but he was probably their coke dealer at some point. You know what I mean? So he knows a lot of fucking people. And for him to just, like, coming from the hardcore world, to be like, hey, kid, you're dope. Like, let me fucking hook you up and get you signed to this label. And, like, he got everything started for me. He was, like, my first cosign, my first big cosign, you know?
That's awesome.
Is that Hell Patrol?
Yeah, well, Hell Patrol is the new label. That's what Black Eyed Children came out on. This was Force 5 Records. I left Force 5 Records. I left Force 5 about a year ago I wanted to do this myself. I got an offer from Sony, a distribution deal, and just a fucking amazing distribution deal that you like never heard of, because I get like all my rights back and I retain like rights to all my shit, which is
huge. If you're listening to this show and you don't understand how the music industry works and how for so many years the record labels just killed the artist, having your rights, having your royalties, your masters, that is big. That is really big.
Yeah, I couldn't even, I did a song with this dude, Judah Priest. He's from, ODB had a group back in the day called Brooklyn Zoo. And Judah Priest is from Brooklyn Zoo. And we did this song that got featured on a Wu-Tang mixtape called, I'm blanking on what the fuck, the Wu-Tang Files. The Wu-Tang Files. And, basically, this guy who works at Sony fucking heard this, and he's like, hey, this is like my favorite song from the fucking album. I would love to give you like a distribution deal, and you could like set up your own shit and fucking, you know what I mean? And it was like literally the best deal I've ever heard of. Like, I've never heard of anyone
getting a awesome
deal like that. You know what I mean? So I'm very blessed. And so I put it out, you know, distribution through Sony, and then Hell Patrol is my own kind of little thing I'm starting up.
Okay. Yeah. Just like Jay said, like you should explain, like just for like a minute, like how, like, because you know a lot of band kids listen to this, but you should explain how important it is to, you know, when you're done your musical career, to own your shit, because then you could reissue it without again anyone's fucking permission. You don't need permission from anyone, and I think a lot of people don't realize that.
Well, and you know, I always hear people bitching when a band goes out and like re-records like their hits or something, or releases like these compilations of re-recorded songs. People are like, oh, what are you trying to milk the fans? No, what they're doing
is trying.
They don't own the masters to any of their shit, so they have to re-record the shit and license that out to television and movies, and so they can actually get some dough coming in, because these giant fucking labels are still like, you think fucking, you know, they're gonna let fucking Megadeth like yeah, here you go. Here's all your fucking masters for your triple platinum record.
Yep.
Like, nah, like they're gonna fucking hold on to that shit and make as much money as humanly possible. You know what I mean? So that's why it's fucking important. It's like, you don't even need a record label now. Like, I hear bands saying, oh, we're trying to get signed. What the fuck are you trying to get signed for? You have everything at your fingertips. You know what I mean? If you're not on Instagram grinding, you ain't going nowhere, period. Yep. I don't give a fuck how good you are.
No, you're 100% right there, because I see a lot of bands that get signed and then like they just go right down the shitter because the label don't do shit for them anyway. It's kind of like the label's just reposting your stuff. If they're not out there like giving you the funds to tour and get merch and all that stuff. They're really all they are is just your friend just reposting.
And there is a certain amount of like being part of a clique, right? So if you're like on Roadrunner, oh, you're part of the Roadrunner clique. There's a big fan base in there that follows everything that's Roadrunner, right?
Yeah.
But that's usually a pretty small fan base. You know what I mean? But people just don't think like, yo, you don't need to be on Roadrunner Records. Fucking get on Instagram and start talking to these people from these bands that are on Roadrunner Records, and you get affiliation, get them on your shit, and that'll bring their fans to you. Like, you don't need to go sign a deal and fucking do a 360 where they're taking your merch and they're taking your live performance. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's mind-blowing.
Right.
And people just want to say, oh, I'm on fucking Atlantic Records or I'm on fucking Interscope. You know what I mean? They don't even give a fuck.
Yeah.
They just want to be able to
maybe it's because we're older and we're jaded and we've heard so many stories of bands getting signed to these big deals, then getting dropped, bands having, fights with the label where the label won't release their shit. The internet is the great leveler, right? Just get out there and make a name for yourself. And if you hustle and you put the work in, somebody's going to notice, right? It may take a bit, but somebody's going to notice. It's like every other career, right? You got to grind it out and earn your put it to sweat equity, to use a really terrible term, right?
Yeah.
I was fucking going nowhere until I got on Instagram. I mean, that's the God's honest truth. You know what I mean? I was like I was sending my songs to record labels and like indie labels and shit like that. I was never getting no responses, and back then, if you went on my Instagram, I maybe had, fucking 300 followers, something like that. You know what I mean? But then I just started building, right? I started building my name. I started sending motherfuckers my shit. Like, I forced it down motherfuckers' throats, And I love the little, like sometimes I used to get in my inbox like, hey, if you're good, your music will be heard. Bullshit. I'm forcing it down your goddamn throat. You don't like it, block me, bitch. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Yep.
That's how I got to where I am, to doing songs with my fucking idols, to doing songs with my heroes, doing shows with my heroes, working with fucking POD. You know what I mean? Vinny Paz, Jedi Mind Tricks, like fucking, like all these legends to me. And I would be, it's all Instagram. It's all Instagram. Now, I'm not saying people out there have to be on Instagram. Go do it on Facebook. Do it on TikTok. There's many hustles you could take, but quit fucking sitting around and waiting for people to recognize you. You got to force it down these motherfuckers' throats.
That's the key word. You just said it. It's hustle, right? You got to put the heart in and put the work in to get people to notice. So let me ask you this, Skribbal. I ask every guest this. You're going out on tour. You get to pick who is the primal headliner. It's like, who is calling you and saying, yo, we're going to open for us, right? And you get to pick your opener. So you get to pick the person who's playing. It's a 3-band show, right? 3-artist show. Who do you have as headlining and who is opening for you?
Oh, fuck.
Same reaction.
I get the same reaction of every person I ask. It's like, oh shit, I don't know.
I'm gonna go real weird here. All right.
Okay.
The opening act is Funk Dubious. I don't know if you guys know Funk Dubious from the early 90s.
Okay.
Cypress Hill, Soul Assassin. Headliner, I would never ever close for this guy, even if I was a million times bigger. KRS-One.
Yeah.
Shit.
Okay.
KRS-One would be the headliner because nobody could fuck with KRS live. Nobody.
So let me put a wrinkle on it. If you have to take out a guitar-oriented band, it could be new metal, it could be rock, it could be Suffocation. If you had to take out a band that is completely mixed bill, totally left field, where you're like, yo, my fans, this is gonna melt their brain, but they're gonna realize that I'm right. Who do you take?
White Zombie Reunion.
Okay.
I love it.
White Zombie Reunion. And we're doing for a closer too, right?
Yep.
Wait, so you're having White Zombie open?
White Zombie Reunion's first.
Wow. Shit, okay.
So who's the headliner?
Oh, fuck, man. Headliner. Limp Bizkit.
There you go. That would be a wild lineup.
I would love to fucking... that's like the dream tour for me, would be to fucking go with Limp Bizkit,
Do you know how many people you just made pissed off by putting White Zombie first before Limp Bizkit?
It's gonna give you like hate mail.
Yeah, I want to go back real quick too about what you said about Instagram, because when you did that story that you were coming on tonight, like I just happened to sign on Instagram. I'm like, why the fuck is there like 40 new followers all of a sudden? And I looked at them, and everything that had in common was they followed you, and I was like, that's fucking wild. That all it takes is one story and you get 40 new followers.
Yeah, there's some reach there. There really is.
That's cool. That's cool. I didn't even know that. That's dope.
Yeah, no, I seen it. I'm like, holy shit. Like, how does that happen? Because you're right. Like, we need to definitely, use that to our advantage. It's just like, how the fuck do you do it though? I mean, I'm not asking you to tell us, but I'm just saying, like, you do have to figure that shit out because it's free. And like you said, it's at your disposal, and you just need to go on there and figure that shit out.
Yeah, I don't know why there's people still like sleeping on it. You know what I mean? I guess it's stubbornness. That people want things to be like they were in like 1998 or some shit. And it's like, yo, there's no money in that.
Yeah.
The only money in music is touring. That's it.
Merch.
Yeah.
So
touring and merch. Yep.
And it's better. I also came to the realization a couple years ago that my dreams of like being the biggest rapper on the planet and like doing like Eminem size shows is so out of reach. You know what I mean? I mean, I would love that. But if you look at Insane Clown Posse, right? You look at Twisted, and you look at Vinnie Paz, Jedi Mind Tricks, you look at all these R.A. the Rugged Man, all these underground legends, right? They haven't worked a job in 30 fucking years. And that's because, sure, they're not the fucking biggest artists on the planet, but they get respect, and they can fucking pack medium-sized clubs anywhere they go in the fucking world because they have a cult fan base that will eat up everything they release and everything they do. And that's where I started being like, I gotta zoom in on this. I gotta fucking concentrate on this, on building a hardcore following that will fucking eat up anything I do.
Yeah, and you're especially right about RA because like he can go like 5 years without a record, and when he puts one out, it's like fucking mayhem.
Oh my God, this last record, have you heard the last record he put out?
Yeah, one of my favorites last year. Loved it.
Best hip hop album of fucking 2020.
Yeah, straight it was up. Really good, man.
I did a song with RA called Them Hoes. It's just real filthy, pornographic, classic RA.
I seen that in the appears on thing in my Apple Music, and I added it as soon as I seen it was on there. I was like, "Yep, listen to that."
No, it's funny. It's ridiculously offensive. Don't play it around children or fucking women.
Nah, I won't. So I know it's getting a little late for me, but I do want to get this in before we get out of here. Mushroom Head. Tell Jay that he needs to stop being an asshole.
Look at that. He's got the tattoo.
There you go. Tell Jay he needs to stop being an asshole and listen to fucking Mushroom Head.
All right, so let me ask you this, Skribbal, because Tim has been beating into my face that I got to listen to Mushroom Head. If you're telling me there's one album I got to start with, and this will change my mind and say it'll convince me, what's the album that's going to convince me?
Well, before we do that, I need to ask you, you've obviously heard Mushroom Head before,
yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Songs here and there. Have you ever listened to a full album?
No, I've never listened. I've only heard songs here and there.
So there's two ways to go about this. There's XX and there's 13, right? And those are, that's 2001, 2003. What XX is if you want to get an overall taste for what Mushroom Head does, you listen to XX, because that album is all three of their indie albums from the 90s. And it's just like the greatest hits of their three albums from the 90s. They've been around since like 92, you know? So some shit on there, you could tell it's from like, oh, this is like 94. This is like really trying to be Ministry kind of, you know, or like weird fucking Faith No More style shit. You know what I mean? But then the next song will be brutally heavy. You know, so you could, if you want like a well-rounded, this is what Mushroom Head is, I'd go XX. But if you want just the best Mushroom Head album, it's 13.
Absolutely.
And I know he's said that many times on here.
That album is a fucking masterpiece front to back. There's not one bad song on it.
And that's the album when they were on Universal.
Yeah.
They released
the one after that, just as good. Save Your Sorrow is just as good. Beautiful Stories is just as good. I kind of think they fell off on Butterflies.
Same.
And the new record is good. It's just there's too many songs.
See,
cut out the orchestral bullshit and just give me the record, you know?
As a hardcore Mushroomhead fan, I've always been cool with, you know, when J-Man came out, they replaced him with Waylon. Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's one of your main vocalists. They've had fucking a ton, like they've had more lineups than Megadeth and like Scorpions combined. You know what I mean? And like,
oh yeah.
They've just had crazy members in there. But the one consistent was always Jeffrey Nothing. Jeffrey Nothing was always in this fucking band. He's my favorite part of the band. He's my favorite lyricist in the band. Don't ever doubt my art and piece together body parts. I mean, come on, man. Jeffrey Nothing not being in Mushroomhead is just not Mushroomhead to me. And I can't deny that I like songs on the new album. I can't deny it, but it's not fucking Mushroomhead. It doesn't sound like it's like alternative Mushroomhead, like radio rock Mushroomhead.
It is, and it took me a while to get into the female vocals. Jackie.
Oh, she's so fine though. I can deal with it.
Yeah, like it took me a while to get into it, but the songs, like the first single they put out, I absolutely love that song, but it's not the same, man.
It's not, man. Like you can replace all these people. You can replace Pig Venus and fucking
I love that name. That's fun.
Gravy. And fucking like all these dudes. But you can't replace Jeffrey Nothing. And I understand he left. And I've talked to Jeffrey a bit here and there. And, you know, he does a lot of solo shit. Have you been keeping up with his solo stuff he's doing?
Yep.
I love it, you know. So, but getting back to, I know we've gone way off course.
No. This is the content we want to hear. Yeah.
Yeah.
The best album is 13.
Absolutely.
You know, that's the brand new material after XX, because like I said, XX is just the greatest hits of the first 3 indie albums.
Okay. All right. I'll go in tomorrow then. Yeah.
Like, dude, the opening track sounds like it should be track number 3, which is, you know what I'm talking about? But dude, when they kick into Becoming Cold and shit like that, god damn it, that fucking record is so good.
Every time I hear Mushroomhead, I just want to do the fucking scarecrow pose, the Jesus Christ pose. You know what I mean? Like, it just Jeffrey Nothing's voice just gets in me and like makes me possessed.
Yeah, I mean, Save Your Sorrow, like the recording's a little weird.
Yeah,
but that record is excellent.
Oh my god, fucking 1200, bro.
Oh my god, yeah, dude.
I mean, but I also want to talk about another band real quick. I know you guys are wrapping it up, but
that's fine. Go ahead. I love Seven.
Oh, are you kidding me? Like they are one of those bands, you know, everybody always says they should have been huge, right? That's a tropey line you hear.
Yeah.
Watch the Woodstock 99 performance.
Yep.
Listen to the first 3 albums just by themselves, just the first 3. They had a sick amount of talent. They still have talent. And it's just, I think they got lumped in with nu metal, where Lejean has a voice. Like he can sing. Man. Like he can legit sing.
Yeah.
He's super
And for
nice
a little dude,
man.
He has presence on stage, right? Like, I mean, they had some talent, but I think they were one of the bands that, unfortunately for them, got lumped in with nu metal. And when the tide went out, they kind of got hung out to dry. But
yeah,
man, they have some tracks.
Dude, Home is a top 10 record for me.
Home is fuck. The first record is fucking Terminator and shit like that.
Yeah.
I love that shit. But my favorite record is Animosity. And
that's
a
great record, yeah.
I think that's because that's the first Seven Dust album I heard. You know what I mean? So you get that like nostalgic thing. So like nothing's gonna fuck with Animosity to me.
Yeah.
You know.
Dude, have you ever heard Black Out the Sun?
All their records, bro. Yeah. All their fucking records. I got them, and I love every single one of them. There was someone on here on your podcast saying like, "Oh, but they have like 4 bad records." That's bullshit.
No,
every fucking Seven Dust album.
Yeah.
Yo,
they don't have a bad record.
I'm looking at this Pillar band. Holy shit, they banged out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 albums. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, dude. But see, here's the thing: that they made it successfully. That they transitioned into other heavy shit.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So like once The Reckoning comes out, there's no more nu metal. It's like that was like their Screamo record. And I remember they were on like the cover of Revolver for that shit. You know what I mean? They made some great records. that's a great band. But Seven Dust, that was also the first band I ever saw live.
No shit.
Yeah, my uncle took me. He's my uncle's favorite band was Seven Dust and like Slipknot at the time. And he took me to see Seven Dust, and Il Nino was opening.
Nice.
And it was 2003, I believe, maybe early 2004, at the House of Blues, Anaheim, near Disneyland. And I remember like, you know, I'd seen my dad and his band jam, but that was like thrash metal kind of shit, groove metal kind of shit. But when I saw Seven Dust live, that's literally the moment I'm like, I need to do live shit. I need to be on a stage and do shit, because it was mind blowing. I was like 11 years old, just watching the mosh pit, just fucking LeJohn going fucking crazy, Morgan Rose doing all the screaming and playing the drums. I was just like, what the fuck is this? You know,
have you heard Morgan's record EP he did last year?
Yes.
Really good.
Yes. I fuck with everything Morgan Rose does. All of them, all their side projects. And I will say, one of my proudest moments, LeJohn follows me on Instagram. And I was like, oh, fuck. So look for LeJohn Witherspoon on the next Skribbal album. I'm just saying.
That's awesome.
We definitely been talking about hitting him up, because I would love to talk to him.
Yeah, he'd be fun. So before we head out, Skribbal, I got a question for you, right? So you have a very, very diverse background, right? Thrash, all that stuff, speed, new metal, the whole nine. Yeah. When I say to you extreme music, right? If I just drop that statement to you, what's the band that pops in your head where you're like, yo, this is the extremest shit I've ever heard in my life? Like, I don't know how people can get down with this.
You know, I don't know a specific band, but I know the genre name.
Okay.
Grindcore, I believe.
Okay. Yeah.
I fucking knew grind was coming in.
Yeah, Tim, we're flying out. We're flying out to California. We're gonna take Skribbal to see like Full of Hell and like Pig Destroyer and like just melt his face. He's gonna be like, "What the fuck?" See, the best part about a grind show is the band plays their whole album and it's the concert's over in like 20 minutes. Like every song is like 48 seconds. It's like, this is great. I'm home by 9 o'clock.
So the whole grindcore thing, like, I didn't even know what the fuck grindcore was. Like, I knew death metal, and like that was the most extreme shit to me, like death metal, like Cannibal Corpse and shit like that. But basically in 9th grade, my uncle played drums for this band called Resistant Culture, right? And they were like this Native American meets grindcore fucking shit. Like, and all their album covers were like, you know, on the reservation, and it was like real pro Native American shit, right? My uncle was the drummer for this band, but I didn't know they were a grindcore band, because when my uncle was in it, they were a new metal band, right? They have this album called Ancient Culture, and it was just like this tribal shit mixed with like Sepultura and new metal, like combined, right? Like a Rise Sepultura mixed with like new metal.
Okay.
And I loved it, and so I walk in 9th grade and I see a kid with a giant fucking mohawk, right? Like he's like a 12th grader, right? And he has a Resistant Culture shirt on. I'm like, yo, my fucking uncle was in that band. I was like, yeah, they're a fucking great new metal band. And he's like, fucking new metal? What the fuck? And he had only heard, you know, like, because their only shit that's popping is like the grindcore shit, you know? So that's where I'm like, oh, he's like, they're grindcore. I'm like, grindcore? And then I went home and I looked up grindcore and I listened to a bunch of them. I'm like, this is not for me.
Yeah. It takes a special kind of
taste
for that kind of shit.
And it's one of those things where 15 minutes of it every couple of days, a week, you're good. That's enough.
But any more than that, you're gonna turn into like a Richard Ramirez type. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Jay says that all the time. It's like, you can't listen to that shit. You know, you turn into it.
Dude, I love the music that we listen to. I love the hardcore, the metal, and the extreme stuff. But you can't listen to that nonstop. You end up like fucking Hannibal Lecter, right? There's like people's faces in your fridge. It's not a good look.
And honestly, like, pretty much all my friends are metalheads, right? So metalheads obviously get into like super heavy shit. They go heavier and heavier and heavier. And like I'm laughed at. Like the shit I listen to is not heavy compared to what everyone else in my circle listens to. You know what I mean? Like you play Megadeth next to fucking one of these modern bands that are fucking tuned down to fuck. You know what I mean? Like it's like, well, I mean, this is metal to me. Megadeth is fucking metal. No one's gonna tell me it's not. Slayer is still metal. Black Sabbath is still metal. You know what I mean? But like everyone, like a lot, like the Acacia Strain or fucking all this shit with this like crazy screaming. I like heaviest I could do is Lamb of God. I love Lamb of God.
Okay, I can respect that.
Yeah. I like Shadows Fall, but that's like it. That and you know obviously 6 Feet Under and shit like that. But anything heavier than that, I'm out.
Tim and I were just actually talking about the band Filth just put out a new song, and like I can fuck with that stuff. I mean, I can appreciate the talent it takes to do something like that. Yeah. It might not necessarily be in my wheelhouse, but hey, if you can write the riffs and the singing and the lyrics and the drums, like good on you, because I can't even begin to quantify how difficult that is to do.
Yeah, and I just and same thing. Like I respect it. You know what I mean? That's real musicianship to do that. It's not fucking easy. You know what I mean? But I prefer not to hear 1,000 blast beats a second. You know, I want to fucking listen to some shit. I don't mind blast beats here and there, but like where every song on every album is blast beats the whole song, it kills me.
Skribbal, do you ever fuck with like Misery Index or Origin, any of that stuff?
I've heard Misery Index, but
when Origin goes out on the road, I'm flying to California. And I'm going to take you. And that drummer, you're just going to watch. We're both going to get wasted, and you're going to watch John Longstreth, and your brain is just going to come leaking right out your ears. I'm just completely floored by this guy who sits straight up with his feet like straight out on the pedals, and he's like 400 BPM, and he's just like, hitting some cymbals,
yeah,
doing some stuff.
Fucking crazy, dude. Like. It's fucking, and I've seen shit like that live, and live, I have fun regardless. If I'm going to a show, I don't give a fuck if the band sucks ass. I'm going to fucking mosh. I'm going to have fun. You know what I mean? So live, I'm sure a lot of these bands kill. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. But like to listen to a record of that shit, it's just not for me. And you know, my homies make fun of it. Like, oh, just go listen to your fucking Les Exorcisto fucking over again. It's like, yeah, I'm going to listen to some fucking groove metal, motherfucker.
Hell yeah.
Oh man. All right. So Skribbal, before we get out of here, people want to check out your music. They want to get in touch with you. They want to see what's going on. Where do they find you?
Well, we talked about it for like 15 minutes. Instagram is the spot if you want to get in contact with me. My music is everywhere. Spotify, Apple Music, all that shit. Just look me up. Listen to the new album, Black Eyed Children. It's a fucking banger. And if you want to hear fucking a death metal legend on some hip hop shit, go listen to that shit. But tonethreads.com/Skribbal for merch and shit like that. I only got like 3 shirts up right now, but I'm working on a bunch of shit right now. So yeah, that's it. I mean, Instagram is really the only spot I'm at. You could like follow my Facebook and shit and Twitter, but I don't do none of that shit, to be honest.
Instagram is a place to be. Well, Skribbal, on behalf of Tim, I really want to thank you, man, for reaching out, for getting in touch. This has been a lot of fun. I have a funny feeling this is the first of many interactions we're going to have going forward. So on behalf of Tim, myself, I want to thank you. On behalf of me, Tim, and Skribbal, I want to thank all of our listeners once again. NewBreed_podcast, both Instagram and Twitter, newbreedpodcast@gmail.com. Send us some emails. Let's talk about some shit. We also have a Facebook group, which is, again, it's half new metal fans, half people who think we're New Breed, the UK Christian rappers. So we get some wild conversations going on. So yeah, it's a good time. We're always welcome. We are as inclusive as it can be. So until next time, New Breed Podcast says cheers.